Welcome back. The film opens with Tom, also known as the in-and-out bandit, because he enters banks, robs them, and then flees so swiftly that no one recognizes him. He leaves no traces behind. His notoriety has spread throughout the country, since he committed 8 bank robberies over the last 6 years, and the police has yet to identify or capture him. After some time, Tom goes to a storage rental firm and meets the booking receptionist, Annie. Tom is clearly drawn to her and she responds, so they begin a relationship. A year later, Tom shows interest in renting a house. He sneaks in through a window and opens the door for Annie to show her the place. He tells her they've been together for a year, and it's time to get married. He says that he brought her here to get her opinion on the house where they will do well. Annie is pleased and decides to marry him. Tom then adds he has something else to tell her, which may surprise her, but Annie asks him to store it for another day, as she is already pleased with the marriage proposal. Meanwhile, at the Charleston Hotel, Tom phones the FBI office. He has been transferred to talk with Baker. Tom informs him that he is the in-and-out bandit and wishes to surrender. He offers to surrender and return all the money he stole, down to the last dollar, in exchange for a reduced sentence of no more than 2 years in a correctional facility near Boston, with full visitation rights. When Baker asks why he is willing to confess under such conditions, Tom explains that he met a woman he loves and wants to spend the rest of his life with her without lying to her. They must first confirm his identification. Tom maintains that he is the true thief and is willing to surrender. Baker writes down his address and offers to send detectives to meet with him and check his account. The next day, Baker informs Niens and Hall that another anonymous caller has claimed to be the in-and-out bandit. He shares all the details and sends them to the address to investigate further. The next day, Tom hears a knock on his door and thinks it's the cops, but when he answers it, he discovers a maid. He tells her he doesn't need anything right now, leaves her gifts and closes the door. Tom, upset by the delay, contacts the FBI again. This time, Myers responds and inquires about Baker. Tom informs him that he is the in-and-out bandit who called 2 days earlier to confess, but no one has yet come up to meet him. Myers adds that agents have been assigned to examine the problem and that he will be contacted shortly. He ends the call. Tom, frustrated, chooses to leave. When he opens the door, Niens and Hall arrive. They introduce themselves and enter to talk with him. Tom tries to convince them that he genuinely wants to turn himself in, but neither of them believes him. Niens tells him that they need proof first. Hall asks that Tom explain how he made the thefts and where the $9 million is, so that they can believe he is the true thief. Tom adds that he gained access to the banks via ventilation shafts and that all of his thefts were carried out on Fridays, when no one would see him. He also used explosives to unlock most of the vaults. He seeks assurances before revealing the money's whereabouts. Hall says that they won't make any transactions without strong proof, so Tom offers them the key to a storage locker at Annie's workplace. He gives them the location and asks that they go there to confirm the money's existence. Only then will they believe him. Hall takes the key and tells him they will return once they've verified the information. They thank him and leave. After a while, Hall and Niens arrive at Tom's storage unit and are shocked to find the money in boxes amidst the junk. They load all the boxes into their vehicle. At that point, Niens chooses to keep the money rather than hand it over to the cops and convinces Hall to assist him. Niens persuades Hall that giving up the money would not help them and that this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Hall agrees and they load the boxes into the car. Meanwhile, Annie notices what's going on through the security cameras and approaches them, asking whether they know Tom, as this is his storage unit. Niens, uncomfortable, tells her that they are Tom's pals, and that he gave them the key to some of his belongings. Annie believes them and returns to work, later deciding to visit Tom that evening. Later, Hall and Niens go to hide the money in a secret location. At the same time, Baker returns to his office and speaks with Myers, telling him that Tom called and asked about him. Baker knows that Hall and Niens denied his request to meet Tom, so he resolves to go alone. At night, Hall and Niens return to Tom and notify him that they have recovered the money. Tom accepts they have the proof and urges them to finish the bargain he proposed. At that time, Niens pulls out 2 pistols, pointing one at Tom and hands him the other, telling him to kill himself to make it appear like a suicide. Tom believes they are planning to betray him and informs them that he expected this and that the money they discovered is merely $3 million. He saved the remainder for his safety. Just then, Baker arrives at Tom's room and knocks on the door, making Hall and Jens nervous as they don't know what to do. Jens orders Hall to open the door. When Baker arrives, he is shocked to discover Jens carrying a pistol. When he asks why, Jens turns his gun at Baker and kills him, killing him instantly. At that point, Tom assaults Jens and jumps out the window with him. Tom strikes Jens as he falls to the ground. He later finds that Annie was standing beneath the hotel and watched everything. He takes her, gets in his car, and departs. Meanwhile, Hall and Jens enter their car and pursue them. Later, Tom stops the car and exits with Annie, hiding in another car in a nearby parking garage. When Hall and Jens discover Tom's empty automobile, they figure he must still be around since he hasn't managed to flee yet. They search the garage but eventually give up and leave. At that point, Tom and Annie emerge from their hiding spot, steal a car, and escape. They reach a safe place, and Tom begins telling Annie everything. He confesses that he is the in-and-out bandit and that he wanted to turn himself in to leave his past behind and start a new life with her. He describes what happened at the hotel, assuring her that he did not kill Baker and has never killed anybody. He also tells her that he hasn't done anything wrong since meeting her, since he loves her so much. After they get back into the automobile, Annie informs Tom that the company's security cameras saw Hall and Jens loading the boxes into their vehicle. Tom understands the idea and tells Annie that he will drop her off someplace nearby and that she should contact the authorities when he goes, informing them that he forced her into the car as a prisoner, but she resisted and fled. He explains that if she doesn't do this, she will be implicated in the crime with him, as Hall and Jens will frame him for Baker's murder, and no one will believe a thief like him. However, Annie refuses to follow his plan, and Tom reluctantly agrees. He informs her that he would drive her to a bus station because she has to leave the city while he looks for a means to prove his innocence. Meanwhile, Myers travels to see the location where Baker was murdered, terribly grieved by his death. He swears to bring the criminal to justice. He confronts Hall and Jens about what occurred, but they swear Baker was dead when they returned to the hotel, and Tom assaulted them as soon as they entered the room before fleeing with Annie. Later, Tom and Annie arrive at the bus terminal, and he requests that she contact him when she arrives to let him know she's safe. Before boarding the bus, Annie tells Tom that she was willing to wait for him if they had accepted the deal he proposed. She is scared because she believes this will be the last time she sees him. She gives him the opportunity to flee with her, but he declines, claiming he has to cleanse his reputation before he can live safely with her. He pledges to see her again, and they say their goodbyes. The next day, Tom receives a call from Annie, informing him that she has chosen not to leave and wishes to assist him. She reveals that she returned to the firm to get video footage of Hall and Jens moving the boxes into their car for use as evidence against them. Tom feels concerned for her safety and advises her to flee as soon as possible before someone discovers her. He hangs up the phone and rushes to steal a car to get to her. After retrieving the footage, Hall and Jens arrive at the company. Jens goes inside and catches up to Annie before she can leave, locking the door behind them. He asks her about Tom, but Annie tries to evade his questions, claiming she knows nothing about him. He then asks whether she knows where Tom's remaining $6 million island. Before she can react, he discovers the memory card containing the camera footage has vanished. Annie attempts to flee, but the door is locked. Jens hits her with a blow. Annie takes a pair of scissors and stabs him in the leg, but as she attempts to flee again, Jens strikes her head on the desk, knocking her unconscious. Hall walks in at this point and is taken aback by Annie's position on the ground. He checks her pulse and informs Jens that she is deceased. Jens asks him to examine her clothes because he believes she stole the memory card carrying the recording. But Hall insists that she doesn't have it and tells him they need to leave quickly. They both leave the scene. As time passes, Tom arrives at the company and finds Annie unconscious on the floor. He quickly takes her to the car and rushes her to the hospital, but he sees police officers there. He leaves Annie at the hospital and flees. On the same day, the police get a radio transmission revealing Tom's whereabouts. At this point, Hall and Jens decide to go after him. When they come, Tom rams his car into theirs, and they exchange gunfire until Tom escapes. On his way, he finds Myers and attempts to run, but Myers takes out his revolver and pursues. He pursues Tom inside a building where he is hiding, and when Tom notices him, they have a heated argument. Tom manages to knock Myers' gun out of his hands, takes it, and threatens him, telling him not to move. Tom talks to him, explaining that he didn't kill Baker and recounts what really happened. He tells Myers that it was Nyen's who killed Baker and stole the money, framing him for the crime. He also describes how they assaulted Annie at work since she had recordings that may implicate them. Myers begs Tom to surrender and promises to help him expose the truth. But Tom says no, throws the pistol away, and escapes. That night, Nyen's and Hall visit Annie in the hospital. Nyen's asks that Hall go inside and find a means to murder Annie because he had previously lied to him, claiming she was dead. But Hall refuses, claiming he does not want to be part of any further atrocities. Nyen says that Hall has already been implicated, so he chooses to do it himself and goes to Annie's hospital room. However, he finds Myers in the room and quickly backs off, leaving. The next day, Hall senses something strange in his home. Feeling anxious, he grabs his gun and heads to his garage. Suddenly, Tom attacks him with a baseball bat, threatening to kill his family if he doesn't cooperate. Hall agrees, telling him that he has the memory card with the surveillance tape, which he concealed from Nyen's on the day they went to the firm. He also informs Tom where Nyen's put the money and advises him that Annie must be evacuated out of the hospital because Nyen's wants to kill her. Tom goes to the hospital and transports Annie to safety. They return to the motel where they had stayed. 2 days later, Tom and Annie park their cars in front of Nyen's house. Tom phones Nyen's and insists that he admit to murdering Baker and taking the money. When Nyen's refuses, Tom advises him to leave the home right away if he loves his life since he has put bombs inside. Tom begins counting from 1 to 10, and when he reaches the last number, he presses a button on the remote, causing a massive explosion that destroys the entire house. Nyen's, on the other hand, had already left the house before the explosion and fled in his car. Nyen's receives another call from Tom, who offers him one more chance to confess. When Nyen's refuses again and hangs up, he goes to the spot where he stashed the $3 million. He contacts Hall to explain what happened and invites him to the house where the money is concealed. Hall concurs. At the same time, Tom hands Annie the key to the storage unit with the remaining funds, instructing her to go to Myers and inform him where the money is in order to show his good intentions. After a while, Hall arrives at the place where Nyen's is hiding. He knocks on the door, and when Nyen's opens it, he is shocked to see Tom entering with Hall holding a gun. Tom instructs Nyen's to down his firearm. Tom informs Nyen's that he has the memory card with the surveillance film, which Hall provided him. Nyen's finds out that Hall lied to him and, enraged, accuses him of being involved in all of the crimes. But Hall answers passionately, claiming that listening to Nyen's in the first place was his worst mistake and blaming him for everything that's happened since. Nyen's assaults Hall and they fight. Nyen's manages to get the pistol and shoots Hall, killing him. He then tries to turn the gun on Tom, but Tom hides and they exchange fire. Nyen's grabs the bags of money, escapes the house, and jumps into his car to flee. At that moment, Tom calls Nyen's, telling him he is tracking his movements because he planted a bomb under his car seat. The bomb is GPS-enabled and pressure-sensitive. If Nyen's moves the automobile or attempts to exit the seat, it will detonate. Tom informs him that calling the bomb squad is the best way to save him. Tom shuts off the phone and walks to Hall's body, taking the shirt he was wearing to extract Nyen's taped admissions. Meanwhile, the police, bomb squad, and Myers come to rescue Nyen's. However, the bomb expert learns that the device in the automobile is only a toy and will not explode. Nyen's gets arrested and the money he has is seized. That night, Myers returns to his office and finds an envelope with his name on it. Inside, he finds the recordings in which Nyen's confesses to all the crimes he committed. As he left the office, he notices Annie waiting to make sure he listened to the recordings. She requests that he show tolerance in Tom's case. Later, Myers receives a call from Tom, who informs him that he wishes to surrender for the final time under the same circumstances he asked earlier. 2 years in a correctional institution outside Boston with full visiting privileges. Myers concurred. At that point, Tom stands in front of him and says he's ready to accompany him. He bids Annie good night and offers to return so they may resume their lives together. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exciting movie recaps.